Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about how to speak in a way that people share while sharing your health message that people actually want to buy from you, because there's one of the most common mistakes that people do that they talk about before clients before they become your clients, and this is costing sales. A lot of health educators, they come to me and they say, I'm doing speaking, but I'm not getting more sales. Or they are doing consultation calls, but people are not buying. And they're wondering, what am I doing? What am I missing? Why? I'm pouring my heart, my soul, my everything, and I'm trying to share with them. But after all of that, it's a lot of effort, but it's little actual clients and sales that come forward. So we're going to fix that. If you're someone who speaks or desires to speak, or if you do consultation calls, I'm going to share with you there's two types of messages for you to share that will make really all the difference. And I would begin, and this is what I call the difference between the type of messages you share for your free content is going to be different than the messages that you share for your paid content. We're going to talk about the different types of content for you to share. The first one is for the paid content, these are what I call coaching frameworks, and it's the same thing for events. There are fulfillment events, and then there are what I would call converting frameworks. And the difference between these is the difference between a sale or not a sale. See, a coaching framework is the type of frameworks that you share when they become your client. This is what is a framework? A framework is a step-by-step process to get a specific result. So whether it's a framework for losing weight, whether it's a framework for helping people to get out of joint and bone pain, whether it is a framework for helping them to reverse autoimmune disease naturally, or to be able to be more flexible, or to flush their gallstones and liver stones, whatever the case is, you have a protocol, you have a recipe for results. And that framework, the problem that most health educators, the biggest mistake that a lot of health educators make is that they start going deep into these coaching frameworks too early, and it causes problems. So instead, what I would suggest doing is when you're teaching free content, whether it's on a consultation call, whether it is from a stage, or whether it's in videos that you're doing, you want to share converting frameworks. These converting frameworks it's still a framework. It's a step-by-step process to get a result, which that is valuable. Every framework is solving a problem. And at the end of the day, you're getting paid when you solve problems for people. So in this content, the types of problems that you want to solve, though, is you want to create, with the converting framework, these are solving what I would call follow-up problems. And did you know that every time you solve a problem, you are actually creating follow-up problems? In fact, so actually I would call these front-end problems. These are front-end problems, and then these are follow-up problems. And what I mean by that is every time, like let's say for instance, Joe Cross with Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. He or let's say Kaylin Poland. Kaylin Poland was a newbie health coach. She had no tech experience, no business experience. She grew her audience of over 3 million women. And has generated hundreds of millions of dollars in her business, helping women to lose weight. She founded the company Lady Boss Weight Loss, and she did this in like 3 years. And one of the reasons why is because she understood this principle that I'm sharing with you. Kaylin Poland, she wrote a book called Big Fat Lies, and it's talking about the lies that the weight loss industry wants you to believe about losing weight. And that's solving follow-up problems because it's busting myths, it's overcoming objections, it's really you're teaching people how to think. This is I'll say you're teaching people to think, and that's why she's dealing with lies that the industry is having people believe. But when they read that book about weight loss, now there's going to be some follow-up problems that her back end offer solves. So if someone's going to lose weight, well, they need some nutrition, right? So what did she do? She had products that helps with like supplements, with like protein shakes, or with supplements that they could take, or green drinks, or she has these follow-up nutritional products that she's able to sell. And from the back end of that, she provides coaching. So now she's got coaching to help people to go through it. Now, her book that she gives away for free, if they just cover the cost of shipping, she's got this free book that people go through. She built this big empire on the back end of her book. Another follow-up problem is, what is the type of equipment that you're going to wear? So now she could be able to sell exercise equipment or be an affiliate for that. She's able to sell courses, or she's able to do consulting or speaking, where people read her book and they're like, wow, I want to hire you to be a speaker. And then when she speaks, she's able to talk about similar themes that are mentioned in her book. So there's like new problems that people come to. Even another great example is Joe Cross, wrote the documentary Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. How many people have heard about the documentary Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead? It's became a best-selling documentary, and what is it all about? It's about juicing. So this man, Joe Cross, I like to say he's an average Joe, but he went on this journey to go learn how to, like, he got diagnosed and he was sick. He got chronic diseases. He's like, things are not looking good. So for 60 days, he's going to drink plants. He's going to drink juices and help him to juice and detox through this process. He started losing weight, feeling great, and reversing his diseases. And he's just documenting his journey. So what's the problem that he's solving? And in that documentary, he's teaching these converting frameworks, which converting frameworks are going to increase the perceived value of your back-end offer. So he's emphasizing how he's emphasizing like the power of juicing and how it's going to help them to lose weight, how it gives them more energy, how, like, all of these things he's addressing as he goes along this journey. But then let's say in his documentary, once you watch it, you're like, whoa, and I'll be honest, that was the first time I ever juiced my own, made my own green drink after I watched it. I'm like, I want to do juicing, because that's the effect that it has. Now people want to juice. But if you're going to juice, what do you need as far as equipment goes? You need a juicer. So as far as the paid solutions, he partnered with a company called Nama, and they have these high-end juicers, and he has an affiliate link that he affiliates and recommends other people's products, which is really cool. And he's made over $1 million just in affiliate commissions on the back end of his, what I would call a converting framework. This is how people are able to monetize their knowledge. And this is one of the ways that they can do that. So you want to find the type of problem that is on the front end that you could solve. That another way, like, let's say I was working with a client's Stewart family. They're helping professional women over 40 to lower their blood pressure naturally. And one of the things that we talked about is how in order to help someone to really see the need of their coaching program, which is all about how to lower their high blood pressure, what they were doing before he came to me, he was like telling everything that he knew in 60 minutes or less. And his goal was like, if I could just teach everything that I possibly can in these 60 minutes and give them everything that they need, that they could change their lives. That was his objective. But the reality is, a lot of times when we're trying to over-deliver, we're really just being overwhelming. And that you're giving so much information, and the reality is, the more that you teach, the less that they feel that they need you, because they got this big old list to do, and they're like, oh, I gotta go implement these things first before I even think about buying your next step. So you don't want to overwhelm them up front. The coaching and the frameworks and the process, this is really what I would say too, is the coaching framework focuses very much on the process. So like as far as high blood pressure, it might be like focusing very much on like what are the teas and how do you make them, and what are the herbs that are going to lower your blood pressure, what is the diet changes you got to do, shifting, like changing on your diet, maybe going deep into some of the recipes. And a lot of the process is going to be these large lifestyle changes that you have to go do, and showing perhaps like a bunch of the exercises that need to take place. And this is like it's stressful and it's overwhelming because it's so many different changes. And the more that you focus on the process, and it's like the step-by-step, the coaching framework to be able to get the result of like lowering blood pressure, getting out of joint and bone pain, seeing how I brought those together instead of boint. The more that you focus on that process, the more overwhelming it is to them. So instead of focusing on the process for your converting frameworks, the type of things you want to focus on is, and this it goes along with your signature speech as well, or if any time that you are teaching, you want to focus on the payoff and the problem. So what is a payoff? The payoff is, what does it do for them? What do they get from that? Like if they lower their high blood pressure, what will they have? They will have the freedom. They'll have reduced stress. They will have they will have the greater mental clarity. The problem is that they're a walking time bomb. People who have high blood pressure it's not a matter of if, but when they have a stroke, it's going to be at the most inopportune time. And one of the things, like what we have to do with these converting frameworks is you're teaching frameworks and stories that are going to be helping people to overcome buying objections that would prevent them from saying yes to your back-end coaching program, course, or supplements, or physical products, whatever it is. So if someone's thinking like, here's an objection, someone's like, well, I don't have time to go through the process for lowering my blood pressure. I don't have time to go learn what I need to do. So you would teach coaching frameworks and stories that show people, that tell stories of people who like had a stroke, had a heart attack because they didn't know that they had high blood pressure, or they didn't have time to fix this. So what happened? They had a stroke and they lost their mobility, or like one half of their brain stopped working, and they were the sole provider for their family. So now their families is drastically changed because they didn't have time to fix their high blood pressure. Would someone be willing to bring me my water bottle, please? Thank you. So another thing is so by being able to focus on stories, and I'll put this here. This is really focusing on stories that help to overcome buying objections, that help to illustrate. Okay, can you fill it up? Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And these stories are going to help prepare the person to be able to see themselves. You want to tell stories that your ideal client sees themselves in this story. It doesn't even have to be your own story. It could be someone else's story. Like when Joe Cross was fast, sick, and nearly dead when he started his health journey documenting the process. It wasn't like he's like, oh, I lost all this weight, let me tell you how I did it. He's like, no, I have a goal. I want to pursue this. So he starts marching in that direction, and he's bringing as many people as possible. Thank you very much. And then he found people along the way. He found a trucker in the documentary. He's like, hey, this trucker was sick, depressed, discouraged, and he had some different medications. He's like, what if you join me on this journey? And then through that process, the trucker got better and healed and was improving his health. And then other people can see themselves. Maybe even if they don't resonate with Joe, they resonate with the trucker. They're like, that's me. And when they see that the trucker's able to overcome, that's a payoff. He was no longer so depressed. He was no longer on the medications. A lot of them were reduced. He was like diabetic. He lost a bunch of weight. And people are like, I want that payoff. I want that result. So another way that you can do a coaching framework is, let's say, like I did this with Stuart. And I remember I was telling my story about how for the first 5 years, I was teaching, I was doing cooking classes and health lectures, health seminars. I was traveling across the nation, and I was teaching people like everything I knew. I was trying to give them everything, but it would always like disturb me by why is it that I would give them the keys of the kingdom, everything they need to transform their life, and yet they're still eating the same thing. They're still doing the same thing. They're like, they don't really make that change. I'm like, what is the difference? It wasn't until I learned the difference between converting frameworks and coaching frameworks, everything changed. Because what we do is people change when they have strong enough reasons to change. Like why to is 80% of the battle. How to is only is only 20% of every result is going to be how to. And so with these converting frameworks, what you're able to do is you teach them what and you teach them why. And this is actually one of the most valuable things you can do for them. In fact, Zig Ziglar, he has a quote where he says, if I cannot sell them, I cannot serve them. Because if you really think about it, what you're teaching, whether it's about like holistic health and diet or exercise or nutrition or transforming their habits, like in order to really transform someone's life, it's going to take some time. It's going to take consistency, right? It's going to take a change of habits. There's going to be a shift that needs to take place. So the best way for you to serve them is if you have 60 minutes to spend with a complete like audience that doesn't know, like, and trust you yet, then like it's delusional to think you're going to drastically transform their entire life and all these new habits, new diets, new recipes, new like obstacles and social influences. You're going to address all those things within 60 minutes. It's not going to happen. So the best thing you could do is use that speech or use that time to be able to give them information, strategic information that will help them make an informed decision to join your longer term implementation program, whether it's implementation products, like physical products, or implementation course or coaching or subscription, something that's allowing you to be able to monetize your knowledge. And it's not just about the money you make, it's about the impact that you make, because then you can help them long term. Even if it's an audio program that's like 6 weeks or something, they're able to listen, and then you could address the real concerns, the habits. If they have challenges, they can get the support that's required to really be served and get the results at the highest level. So the best way to help them is by giving them strong reasons why to change, why to get out of pain, why to lose weight, why to lower their blood pressure, why to reverse their autoimmune disease, reverse their type 2 diabetes. Like, this is a type of things. So you show them, like, let's say you have a list of, like for the Stewart's family, they have like 20 different herbs that can lower high blood pressure. And I'm like, well, 20 of them could be great, but instead of giving them all 20 that's in your book, let's make this a converting framework. If you want to sell your book, then in your speech, in your free content, say, these are my 3 favorite herbs for lowering blood pressure you can use today. And then what it is then you go through like hibiscus, and then you go through like turmeric, or I don't remember what the 3 herbs are, but let's say you list them out, and then you're able to say in your content, this is just 3. In my book, I cover 20 herbs that help you to lower high blood pressure. In your coaching program, you might give them the recipes of what are the tinctures, how do you take it? And this is how to, right? This is like, is it in a powder form? Is it when you cook? Is it in a tea? Is it in an IV? Is it like, is it in a capsule? Like, how are you taking these different herbs? So those are things that you could teach them on the implementation, but you can give them all the recipes on planet Earth. And a lot of people, if they don't have the strong reasons, if they haven't become the person, then they're not going to take advantage of all the how-to that you give them. And I shared my story with the Stewart family and how I would give everything I could in 60 minutes or less, just try to fit as much as I can in there. And then they didn't buy. And he's like, that's what I've been doing. I've been doing that for a while too. So he started to apply the principles. He attended our signature speech workshop. He joined our accelerator program. We helped him to craft his speech and understand the difference between converting frameworks and coaching frameworks. And at the next event that he spoke at, he had all of his products that they were sold out at the event and back ordered online. And people were placing orders. Like, he was oversubscribed once he learned how to apply his principles. He stopped trying to give them everything he knew in 60 minutes and started giving them the strategic information to learn how to think about that process. Does that make sense? If this is valuable for you, can you type value in the chat below so I know that things are connecting for you? So in this content, like, one of the best things that you can do is really give them what are like 3 herbs, and then why is it important? And what happens is, what's powerful too is like, you can give a listicle. Let's say it's in your coaching program. You could say, hey, here's 3 herbs to eliminate joint pain. And while you're talking about how these herbs eliminate joint pain, you might know of like 12 herbs but you might talk about like 3 of them, and you're like, this is what this first one, like this is how it helps support your joints. The second one, how it helps to alleviate inflammation and that swelling or stiffness within your joints. And you're like, these are some of my favorite ones. And it's like, yeah, you can go out and go find these all over the stores and at outrageous prices, or you can get them all in one bottle. And here is my program. And I've got not only 3, but I've actually packed 12 of the best herbs to support your joints and your bone health, to support you while you are healing naturally, and the topical cream that you could put on your product. So that's a type of content you're able to share, and it gives them like a preview of your program and products. It gives you it gives them a piece of it, and you're not really holding back. It just for time's sake, you can't really cover all like 12 different herbs in detail, but you can give them a taste so that they can see that your knowledge, your system, your solution is effective, and then they'll want some more. So there's that. There's the what and the why too. Another thing that I learned is during COVID there was a I guess there was a challenge. It was called Rise Up World Challenge or Rise Up Challenge, and Pete Vargas was hosting it. And it was right at the beginning of COVID when everything was starting to lock down, and we had events. I had events. I was speaking. I was going to host, and then like we couldn't do our events anymore, and all the speakers were in like an uproar and wondering like, what does this mean for the world? This is so weird. What's going on? And Pete Vargas, I didn't know he was behind some of the biggest brands in speakers, and they was bringing them together. These marketers, celebrities, different people who are in the speaking world, and one after another was teaching these concepts. And one of the guys who I ended up paying like $1,500 to get access to this training, and Pat Quinn is the speaker coach who trained many of these people how to craft their talks. And one thing that he taught is when you're doing a signature talk, what you want to do is you want to have some things that are in your free content. You want to have a few like quick fixes. If you could show them something very fast and like high value, easy to implement, quick to get some sort of result, then it shows they're like, oh wow, that's great, I like it. Then it's solving problems, it's adding value, it's making a difference, it's building rapport because you're making a deposit into like that relational bank account, so they trust you. But you also want to blend it where it's not just a list of all these quick things that they could do without you, they could do immediately, but you also want to blend it with some like long-term habits. And these long-term habits are things that are very clear and obvious, that they know that can be, they could be, it's going to take a while to address, and they're going to want some help with it. So I have a client, she's got over 1.5 million followers online, and a lot of stuff that she does is she teaches like online. She gives people these exercises, which is a lot of the how-to. She's given tons of exercises. She's growing her social media. And the thing is, people really want to know the how. They want to see the exercise. But she finds that so many of the audience, so many of the people, they see exactly how to do it, but many of them are not doing it. She's like, why is that? And I was sharing with her, it's because of the identity. It's because just teaching people how to do it doesn't help them become the person who can do what is required to have the results, the body that they desire. So what you have to do is insert more of some of the why to, some identity transformation, identity selling, help them become the person who could take advantage of your offer, your opportunity, your program. And so start telling some stories that will help them to shift who they see themselves as, give them strong reasons. She's like, okay, so she started putting some of those content in her live videos. She goes live every week, and she started applying some of the principles we're talking about, these converting frameworks, and she saw her sales were going up far more than before. She got with her marketer or funnel builder, and they traced all of these course sales that started to come as a direct result of applying these principles here. And then it was like a breakthrough, because you can give them all the exercise, all the recipes, everything that they need to change, and they don't do it. But when something amazing happens, it's because you're speaking to them in harmony with human nature. Our brains filter life through stories. And a lot of times when we're like, oh, I don't believe that, or like I know for my mom doesn't really like to exercise, and she has reason. When she feels the pain of the muscles like tearing down and building, she's like, that means to stop. That's a story that she tells herself. Like, that means like it's hurting and that I got to stop doing that. So it's really hard for her to walk around and go do stuff because there's just a lot of pain associated with that. So by helping to reframe that, like that story that people say, that's why you hear often when people are in the gym, they're like, no pain, no gain, because they're now associating the pain of the exercise with the payoff, which is the gains in their muscles. And now if we see that pain is literally weakness leaving your body, or like your body is getting stronger, your muscles is getting stronger and repairing, it's flipping a new story, and it's giving people, and it's allowing them, it's empowering your audience to be able to take action, where otherwise, if we just tell them exactly how to do the reps, how to lift, how to work out the biceps, how to exercise our core, we're not actually addressing how to think through the processes, the real reasons why they don't do it consistently. So what's cool about these long-term habits is also when you're giving people, like even if you're talking about teas, you can share. I've noticed a lot of people when they're talking about herbs or supplements, when they talk about how the herbs are sourced, you could say that these herbs, when implemented correctly, when prepared correctly, they have this effect. So when you say the phrase, if you're about to give like a piece of advice, or when you're sharing something, you say, when you tell stories the right way, then you will be able to inspire belief, these what I call buying beliefs. And then what does that do? That implies that there's a wrong way to tell stories. There's a wrong way to use these herbs. There's a wrong way to be able to do this exercise. And you could show like a lot of people don't do it right, but when you are able to prepare these herbs in a way that's designed to support your bones and joints, and it helps to get the richness of the healing nutrients, the healing attributes from the herbs, that's when they have this amazing effect of relief, of mobility, of flexibility, whatever it is. Then people are like, oh, cool, so I can't just go to any Walmart and go find those herbs. I can't just go to the grocery store. But they're thinking, okay, well, I want to do it the right way. So they'll want you to coach them through the right way. They want to go through your course to learn the correct process. They realize that it's not just something that they do immediately, and it's not all done within the 60 minutes. They're like, oh, there's more to learn. And when you show them that there's more beyond this, then they're like, I want your health mentorship to guide me on the direction to go. So that's something that you want to incorporate these elements when you're teaching. And what's fun is even now I'm I'm hosting a implementation workshop for my accelerator students for yesterday. Today we're on day 2. And we're about to dive into that, and I love doing it. And what we're doing is I'm showing people, our clients, how they can leverage AI to be able to create converting frameworks, to be able to identify with their offer, their audience, your message, your clients, your background and story and experience, how you can tell stories in a way that's actually creating buying beliefs and actually overcoming buying objections of like, I don't have time, I've tried other things. Then there's all of these different vehicles or methods or ways that people will try to solve the problem you help people with. And if you're not able to just like eliminate all those alternatives and make your program seem like that is the most opportune thing that they could do to help them to get the best way for them to get what they really want most, then they're going to go elsewhere. They're going to go to your competitors. And by not teaching converting frameworks, you are forcing your highest paying clients to go to your competitors who's not going to serve them the way you can, who doesn't have the knowledge you do, who doesn't love your clients as much as you can. So the cool thing about this is when converting frameworks are done correctly, notice what I did there, and it's true, when converting frameworks are done correctly, then people feel like they're getting how to go like what to do, and they are, because you're solving a problem that is a front end problem. And by solving this front end problem, it also creates back end problems, like follow-up problems that your back end your back end products and programs are able to solve. So what's cool is that you're actually creating new problems for people in the most like delightful way, because problems never go away in life and business. What happens is, as soon as we solve a problem, we get better quality problems, and we get follow-up problems like, hey, I'm fat, sick, and nearly dead. That's a problem. Okay, the solution is juicing. Oh, juicing, I want to do juicing. Oh, but what problem do I now have? Well, I don't have recipes. I don't have a juicer. I don't have guidance to to know which mistakes I have, or I don't have a plan for, if I've got this health challenge, what juices specifically will help with this. So now Joe Cross is able to build this whole business. He's got a book, he's got coaching programs, he's got juicing, he's got recipes and community. And then some people are like, oh, I'm the only one who's weirdo drinking plants while everyone else I know is eating steak. So what do I do? So then he provides community for people that they could be a part of and learn the juicing and encourage each other along the way and hear other stories that they could resonate with. So all of this is so powerful. That's one of the reasons they become best-selling books and people love it, is because you're actually giving value to people, and you're solving problems. And when you solve problems, you're also kind of seeding that there's other problems that you can help them along the journey. So what I would do for everyone is think about the journey that your ideal client is going to go on. Like, here they are starting before they meet you, and think about what is the ultimate outcome that you're going to help them do, whether it's lose weight, stop, like our Mommy Mango, she helps women to not look like they're pregnant when they're not, to flatten their mommy tummy. Maybe it's to reverse autoimmune disease, or lower their high blood pressure, whatever. What is the big goal that you have? And there's going to be like smaller milestones for them to get along that way. Like, what are the steps to produce that result? Get clear. What we do is, when I'm coaching health educators, one of the first things that we do is get very clear on what is the actual framework. What is the problem you're going to solve? One profitable problem that people gladly pay you. We like a sweet spot around $3,000. And who is a profitable person that would have no problem paying you for that? And then what are the steps that you're going to take in order to get there? And once you have these steps, then just focus on how can you solve these types of problems and bring awareness to that. In the beginning of their journey, introducing them to see the value of going on that journey in the first place, and you can support them every step of the way. And that's what's really cool. People will pay for clarity. They'll pay for ease, simplicity, eliminating hassle. They'll pay for speed, because they can go figure out, they can go learn how to do that themselves and waste all this time, money, energy, effort doing all these cleanses, taking all these tinctures, all these supplements, and waste a fortune. Or they could follow your map. You have a roadmap. That framework becomes a path that people can follow to be able to get the result they're looking for the most. And this framework helps give you clarity to systemize your communication. To now that you have you know exactly what kind of things you're going to be saying, what kind of problems you're going to be solving. You're not wondering, like, what am I going to say? And you know that every time you open your mouth, people want to pay you, because you're teaching frameworks in a way that actually helps create buying beliefs. It helps to build trust in your back end offer, helps to address a lot of the concerns, like this signature speech. And I realize not every some people hear about signature speeches like, oh yeah, I've done that. But most times when speaker trainers are talking about signature speeches, they're just like, you just have a powerful talk. You just maybe like excite the people, be very motivational, entertaining, or you just have this dynamic presentation. And what we teach is very different, where instead of just having this great talk and then hoping people come on the back end, let's reverse engineer and add value by solving the problems that would prevent people from actually taking advantage of your back end, so that every word you say, every question you ask, every statement, even statistic you share is either repelling people away from your offer or it's selling people towards your offer. There's no middle ground. And you're either helping your audience to make that buying decision, or you're helping your audience to tell you no and make the decision that's like, oop, that's not for me. So you want to be very intentional about it. And when you craft a signature speech in the way that I'm like teaching today, then people actually feel excited. Like I know one lady, she became a client of ours. She listened to my signature speech as I was teaching about how to publish a book and become a #1 bestseller, and how to build a business on the back end of a book. And she has a book, so she's listening. And then she went through, and at the end, like, I did make an offer, but I was actually creating content. What I'm telling you today is, I'm not saying to pretend to teach someone when you're actually just trying to sell them. That's not at all what this is about. You actually teach them frameworks that solve problems, that make sense, add clarity, but they also build a desire to solve follow-up problems that your back end, other steps of the journey are able to solve. So it's intentional. It's my favorite way because it actually creates a desire for your paid solutions. So one thing that she said when she came out of my training, she's like, what I really liked about yours is it wasn't just a list of all these client success stories, but you actually taught us how to build a business on the back end of our book. It made sense. And she was going through, like, she's like, you taught us how to do this stuff. And what's really neat is it's like, yeah, I mean, I was sharing what to do, why to do it, and it's a step-by-step process for building the business. And it's just like, it doesn't feel salesy. It feels like when you're doing it right, it feels like you're actually teaching them because you are. It feels like content. If you're like selling and people feel like they're heavily being sold to and getting uncomfortable with that, then you're doing it wrong. But this is a way that you can really add massive value, make a huge difference, solve problems, serve people in a way that never before seen. So these are some of the things that I want to talk about today. And how many of you want to learn more about how to teach converting frameworks to get more clients in your life? Type yes. If you would like to have a deeper dive, to go into more detail, to get some guidance, maybe on your specific offer, maybe on your business. Well, what we do is every month I get together with a group of amazing health educators, and we dive deep into your marketing, your messaging, your offer. We're able to answer any questions that you have. It's really open for you when you get a VIP ticket. You are able to come on Zoom, ask as many questions you want, and we could look at your business and then tailor some of these principles. Like I'm sharing one to many to give as many examples as I can, but in this challenge, we really look at your business and give you specific answers to your specific questions. It's free to attend as a general. There's 2 tickets. The free ticket, you can come, watch, and listen. VIP is what I would highly recommend. It's only $49, and you get 4 coaching sessions, and we're able to go through and look at your business, peel back the curtain of what some of the most successful health educators in the industry are doing right now to learn the marketing that will help you to get your message to the masses. So go to highincomehealthexpert.com, or just comment the word challenge or comment the word speech below, and I'll send you a link, me and my team, and we'll help you to start understanding and getting more into your coaching framework or your converting frameworks. But until next time, remember, God doesn't call a qualified, He qualifies a call. Have a great day, and God bless.